This land is designated for Phase 4 development. You need to vacate within 30 days. The woman stood on the other side of my fence, clipboard pressed against her chest like armor. Behind her, 3 SUVs idled on the county road, engines humming, exhaust drifting in the cold morning air. Vacate? I stared at her, at the surveyor behind her, at the man with the camera. Lady, I've lived here 43 years. My father built this fence. My grandfather cleared this land. Nobody's vacating anything. Mr. Coltrane, I understand your attachment, but Serenity Ridge HOA has filed proper documentation with the county. Phase 4 cannot proceed unless you steal my land. Her smile tightened. Professional, cold. We're not stealing anything. We're following approved development plans. If you refuse cooperation, we'll be forced to pursue condemnation proceedings. I gripped the fence post, felt splinters dig into my palm. You can try. She turned toward her SUV, heels crunching gravel, didn't look back. 30 days, Mr. Coltrane. Use them wisely. I'm Wade Coltrane, 56 years old, 5th generation Texan. I own 60 acres of cedar, dust, mesquite, and memories in hill country just outside Fredericksburg. Land my great-grandfather homesteaded in 1889. Land my grandfather fought to keep during the Depression. Land my father worked until the day he died. Not rich land, not easy land, but mine. The soil out here remembers everything. Every boot that touched it, every fence post driven straight, every drought, every storm, every prayer whispered into wind. You don't push a man off soil like that without waking something in him he hasn't had to use in a long time. 3 weeks ago, everything changed. I woke at dawn to check cattle and found an envelope wedged between cedar slats at my front gate. No stamp, no handwriting, no footprints in gravel, just an envelope. Plain, light, almost polite. Inside, printed message. 12 words. Serenity Ridge Phase 4 cannot proceed unless Coltrane parcel is vacated. Then 2 more. Step aside. No explanation, no apology for trespassing, no signature. Just step aside. Like my home was coat tossed over chair. Like soil would forget who it belonged to moment someone else's money touched it. I stood there, turning that note between fingers, feeling weight of something not printed on page, not request, not even threat. Sound rattlesnake makes before you ever see its head. Threats aren't loud. They come quiet, smooth, like knife sliding from sheath. I walked fence line, slow, steady, nothing disturbed, ground clean, no tire tracks, no boot marks. Whoever left envelope knew how to move without being seen. Too quiet for comfort. Only 2 kinds of people walk without leaving marks: hunters and thieves. By time I reached back pasture, sun had burned off chill. Should have been peaceful day. Fix hinge, check cattle, patch wire. But letter changed air, made it thin, sharp, uneasy. Those 2 words kept circling. Step aside. Like hell I would. I've seen men pushed off their land. Good men. Quiet men. Men who could work weeks straight without complaining. Seen look they carry afterward. Hollow. Like someone reached inside and scooped out part that made them stand tall. They didn't just lose dirt. They lost piece of themselves, anchoring them to world. No HOA was ever going to do that to me. Not while I had breath, boots, and fence line with my name carved into every cedar post. Standing there with envelope in hand, I felt something settle deep in chest. Not anger, not fear, decision. If someone wanted this land badly enough to slip message onto it in dark, someone was about to learn just how hard man fights when ground under feet is only thing keeping him standing. Real kicker. I hadn't even seen worst of it yet. Next morning should have felt like any other. Quiet, steady, predictable way country life tends to be. But ever since envelope showed up, land felt different. Like it shifted weight while I wasn't looking. Couldn't shake feeling someone had been standing on my dirt long enough to make ground hold its breath. Little after 9 a.m., While working hinge on South Gate, I heard something that didn't belong. Not cattle, not wind, not rusty rumble of ranch truck on county road. Humming, low, mechanical, precise. I wiped sweat from brow, leaned out just far enough to see over fence. 3 men stood on other side of property line, neatly dressed, boots too clean, clipboards, laser rangefinders, kind of tools honest ranchers never need unless fixing something someone else broke. They didn't wave, didn't ask permission, didn't pretend they were sightseeing. One raised handheld device, little red dot flickering across my fence like window shopping for what ain't theirs. Another bent down, placed orange survey flag right at edge of my gravel. That flag wasn't on their side of line. It was dead center on mine. I set wrench down slow. Man who moves quick looks nervous. Man who moves slow looks sure. Morning, I called out. Not single one turned. That told me everything. Folks around here aren't rude. Even strangers tip hat at passing dog, let alone man whose land they're standing beside. These weren't locals. These weren't neighbors. These were people who believed they had authority, or were paid by people who did. After minute, tallest one finally spoke, without looking up from device. Boundary verification for Serenity Ridge development. Shouldn't take long. I stepped closer to fence. What boundary? He tapped clipboard like he was bored. Phase 4 expansion. Future alignment. Standard procedure. Future alignment. Phrase only bureaucrat could love. I leaned both arms on fence. Stared until he had no choice but look back. His eyes flickered. Like he'd suddenly realized I wasn't part of script he rehearsed that morning. This land ain't Serenity Ridge, I said. And it sure as hell ain't for sale. Shortest one cleared throat. Almost apologetic. We're just mapping what HOA approved. Approved by who? I scanned their equipment. Commercial grade survey tripod. GPS receiver. Fresh drone case. Not cheap one either. High zoom mapping rig you'd use when planning where to put roads. Wouldn't bring that gear unless they, thought they had right. Or unless someone lied to them. Gentlemen, I said quietly, you're standing awful close to fence that hasn't moved in 60 years. Tallest man gave polite half smile. Kind lawyers use right before telling you you're wrong in language fancy enough to sound respectful. We're within public right-of-way, sir. Anything visible from here is subject to assessment. Assessment. People don't assess land unless they plan to do something with it. Paving, building, condemning, replacing what's already there with something someone richer wants more. I watched them long while. Me saying nothing. Them pretending not to care I was staring holes through them. Eventually they packed gear, walked back to white SUV parked too close to my driveway for comfort. No county markings, no contractor decals. Just brand new white SUV with tinted windows and temporary plates. Right before driver closed door, I heard one say, "If he doesn't move, phase 4 dies." Didn't whisper it. Wasn't scared of me hearing. That's what got under my skin. Men who aren't scared of being heard are either very stupid or very sure someone else is backing them. They drove off in cloud of dust. I stood there long after taillights vanished, letting weight of those words sink in. No one had asked me about Phase 4. No one told me anything about expansion. No legal notice, no survey request, nothing. Yet here they were, measuring what wasn't theirs, planning what they couldn't have, speaking like my land was already penciled into someone else's blueprint. Envelope had been whisper. This was first footstep. Deep down I knew more were coming. And they'd done it wearing someone else's money like armor. Envelope had been whisper, survey crew, first footstep. Late afternoon sun lay flat across pasture, turning everything gold. Normally hour when world softens, when wind cools and man can sit on porch with cold tea, remember why life out here is worth trouble. Not that day. I heard engines before I saw dust. 3 vehicles. Rolling slow, steady, deliberate. Like they weren't just arriving, they were advancing. White SUV led way. HOA emblem slapped on door like it meant something. Behind. second SUV, and little silver sedan too fragile for dirt roads. When they stopped at gate, doors opened in stiff unison. Out stepped 4 people. 3 I didn't recognize. 1 I'd only seen in HOA newsletters I never asked for. Victoria Hayes, president of Serenity Ridge HOA. Her pictures never showed how tall she was, or how cold, or how her smile came preloaded with disappointment. She walked toward gate like she expected it to open itself, out of respect. It didn't. "Mr. Coltrane," she called, voice sharp as fence staple. "We need to speak with you." I stayed on porch, arms resting on knees. If it's about selling my land, conversation's already over. She didn't flinch. People like her don't hear words they don't want to hear. We're here to address your non-cooperation with development plan. Non-cooperation. Amazing word choice. Like I'd agreed to something but forgot to show up. What development plan? Her jaw tightened. Phase 4. You've been informed. I got envelope telling me to step aside, I said. If that's your idea of informing, you're doing lousy job. One of men stepped forward. Thick-necked guy with clipped mustache and badge-shaped patch reading Community Safety Officer. Not sheriff, not deputy. Just uniform someone ordered online. We're authorized to conduct preliminary safety evaluations, he announced. This gate obstructs emergency access. That made me laugh. Once, very quietly. This gate's been here longer than your subdivision, I said. If wasn't safety issue for 30 years, ain't one today. Victoria raised a manicured hand to silence him. Mr. Coltrane, she said, shifting into patronizing tone I imagine she used on people she thought beneath her. We can resolve this amicably, but you need to understand your parcel has been designated for community integration. Integration? I repeated. Mighty fancy way of saying, we want to take it. It's not taking, she insisted. It's transitioning. HOA has approved boundary realignment pending your cooperation. Cooperation. That word again. Her eyes narrowed. For first time? I saw it. Desperation under polished veneer. She wasn't confident, wasn't calm. She was cornered, and cornered people make foolish decisions. It would be in your best interest, she said slowly, not to obstruct progress of this community. I stood, not fast, not dramatic, just enough for all 4 to take step back they didn't mean to take. My land, I said, is not your community, and your progress stops at my fence. Safety officer puffed up. You refusing HOA directive, sir? I'm not in your HOA. His face twitched. Wasn't used to hearing that. Victoria took breath, steadying herself. HOA, she said carefully, has authority to petition county for condemnation if property poses structural, environmental, or safety risks to surrounding neighborhood. There it was. Snake finally opened mouth. So that's plan, I said. Sabotage something on my land. Call it safety hazard. Take it. She didn't deny it. Didn't confirm either. Didn't have to. Silence is loudest truth in world. We'll be in contact, she said, signaling her people. They turned back to vehicles. Walking stiff. Angry steps. Not triumphant ones. They'd expected this to be easy. Signature. Handshake. Scared homeowner eager to comply. But I wasn't scared. Sure as hell wasn't eager. As convoy rolled away, gravel spitting behind them, land went quiet again. Not peaceful quiet, waiting quiet. Storm brewing quiet. That was moment I knew something with real teeth was coming, and whatever they planned next wouldn't arrive in daylight. Next morning started like any other. Coffee, boots, slow creak of old porch greeting another day. But peace doesn't last long when someone's decided your land should have been theirs. By 9 a.m., mail truck didn't just stop at gate, it lingered. Driver wouldn't look me in eye when he handed over stack of envelopes, thick enough to feel like brick, all bearing same return address, Serenity Ridge, HOA Legal Division. That told me everything. Envelope on top, bolded in red, Notice of Property Compliance Review. I opened first letter with knife, careful, slow, like dressing deer. Inside, List of violations, so ridiculous, it felt like satire. Fence height inconsistent with community standards. Livestock containment inadequate. Exterior structures may pose hazard to adjoining properties. Failure to maintain visual harmony. Visual harmony. They really wrote that. Almost laughed. Until I saw last line. Failure to correct these issues within 14 days will result in mandated county inspection and administrative fines. 14 days. Everything about it meant to feel urgent, panicked, overwhelming. Except I wasn't man who overwhelmed easily. Open next envelope. Another violation notice. Then another. By 10th letter, knew exactly what I was dealing with. This wasn't enforcement. This was war by paperwork. Don't need bulldozers or sabotage when you can bury man under documents until he chokes. I stacked letters neatly on porch rail, lined up like little soldiers in wrong army. Breeze pushed through, rustling them, like even wind was offended by nonsense. Then I opened thick one, heavier paper, not HOA. County Planning Department. Never good sign. Inside, notice stating Serenity Ridge had filed petition to review zoning placement and impact of adjacent parcels. Adjacent parcels. That meant me. Specifically me. Paragraph near bottom highlighted in yellow. Possible environmental concerns regarding Coltrane property may require temporary conditional access for assessment. Word access set something cold in chest. They weren't bluffing. Weren't pretending. They were positioning themselves to walk right onto my land with clipboards and cameras and county backing. Not because they had reason, because they had paperwork. I leaned against porch post. Letters spread around me like vultures circling. My land was still quiet, still mine. But on paper, they were already rewriting borders. You can fight trespasser, can stare man in eyes, make him think twice. But sheet of paper with county stamp? That's ghost with teeth. Truck rumbled up road. Older Chevy. Dusty blue. Rattling like every bolt holding on out of loyalty, not strength. Earl Talbot. Neighbor 2 miles up. Old friend of my father's. He killed engine, stepped out, handed me folded letter. Got this in mail, he said. Thought you'd want to see. Another HOA notice. Accusing him of non-permitted livestock interaction. Earl hadn't owned cow in 10 years. Looks like they're spreading net, he said, trying to isolate you, make whole county believe your problem. Foreclosure. Word hit like punch to gut. You can't foreclose on land you don't own, I said. HOA has filed proper petitions with county. Lien is enforceable under Texas property code. I hung up. Sat there, staring at wall. $47,000. 7 days. Foreclosure. They weren't trying to scare me into selling anymore. They were trying to take it outright. That night, my daughter called. Sarah lives in Austin. Barely talks to me since divorce 5 years back. Dad, I got letter from some HOA. They're saying you're in legal trouble, that you're refusing to cooperate, that you might lose ranch. Voice tight. Worried. Angry. Sarah, it's not. Why do you always have to fight everything? Just sell, take money, move somewhere easier. You're 56 years old. You don't need 60 acres of nothing. 60 acres of nothing. That's what she called it. Land her grandfather bled for. Land her great-grandfather homesteaded. Sarah, I can't do this right now. I have meeting. Just think about it. She hung up. I sat in empty kitchen. Letters piled on table. Phone silent in hand. Felt like drowning. $47,000 I didn't have. 7 days I didn't want. Family who didn't understand. And HOA weaponizing every tool they could find to break me. Thought about giving up? Opening gate? Signing papers? Making this go away? Thought about next family Victoria would target when I backed down? Thought about my father's voice. Some battles find you. When they do, you stand your ground. And I thought, no, not this time. She wanted to destroy me? Fine. But I was taking her down with me. I opened laptop, Started email to every media outlet in Texas. Subject: HOA claims 60-acre ranch for development without owner's consent. Threatens $47K fines. Attached documentation. Photos. Letters. Victoria's threats. Hit send to 12 news stations. 8 newspapers. 5 investigative journalists. If Victoria wanted war, she'd get one. By midnight, phones started ringing. San Antonio Express News, Austin American Statesman, KXAN News. They all wanted interview. Story was going viral. HOA tries to steal Texas ranchers' family land for luxury development. Comments brutal. For Victoria, next morning I got call from County Commissioner. Mr. Coltrane, we're reviewing HOA's filings. Some irregularities. We're putting hold on all enforcement actions pending investigation. $47,000 lien, suspended. Foreclosure, stopped. But Victoria, she wasn't done yet. By sundown, letters from HOA were still spread across kitchen table, like crime scene I hadn't decided how to solve yet. Stared at them long time, letting last of daylight fade off paper. Paperwork meant they were scared of being seen, scared of leaving fingerprints, which meant if they were stupid enough to sneak onto my land, they were smart enough to hide tracks. So I decided to stop looking for footprints, start making them. I grabbed coat, stepped onto porch, let night settle around me. Quiet night, cold, kind, that makes sound travel farther than it should. Perfect for listening. Headed for barn. Opened old metal cabinet my dad built back when he still believed world was. Fair fight. Pulled out box labeled simply storm gear. Inside wasn't rain gear. Tools of different kind. 4 trail cameras, older but dependable. 2 motion-triggered floodlights. Thermal sensor I'd bought years ago for coyote trouble. Canister of reflective tracer powder kind hunters use when tracking in low light. Roll of heavy gauge wire that outlasted tornado. Laid it all out on barn bench like surgeon prepping for quiet, necessary operation. My father taught me 2 rules I'll never forget. 1. Man who hides in dark fears light. 2. Make dark work for you, not against you. So, that's what I did. Started at southern fence, hung camera inside hollowed out cedar knot, placed another near cattle gate under fake birdhouse I carved years ago. Wired small motion bar across old drainage ditch spot someone sneaky might crawl through, thinking I'd forgotten it existed. Next, sprinkled light trail of tracer powder along ground near weak spots of fence. Under normal light, looked like dust. Under UV, screamed like spotlight. If anyone crossed that fence tonight, they'd glow like Christmas angel in courtroom. By time I finished, moon was leaning low, hanging pale over mesquite trees. Ranch looked peaceful, too peaceful. That kind of silence is liar. Man learns that after enough years living alone. Halfway back to house. I heard it. Faint electric hum. High, insect-like. Mechanical. Drone. Not first I'd heard in life, but first I'd heard close to midnight. Turned slow. Eyes adjusting to dark. There it was. Hovering not 20 yards above barn roof. Little red light blinking. Camera eyes swiveling like sniffing for heat. Someone was watching me. Watching property. Maybe watching how I responded. Didn't reach for shotgun. Not yet. Taking down drone feels good. Catching its owner feels better. So instead, I acted like didn't see it. Kept walking. Calm. Slow. Let them feel safe. Half hour later, back inside house, I sat by kitchen window with lights off. Beside me, trail cam receiver blinked steady, waiting. At 12:43 a.m., it chirped. One image, then another, another. Opened them one by one. First photo, figure, jumping back fence, hood up, knees bent like they'd practiced. Second photo, same figure crouched by north gate. Shining small flashlight into lock hardware, maybe checking what tools they'd need next time. Third photo, 2 sets of footprints glowing under UV, one fresh from tracer powder. Marked, caught. Then came fourth photo, one that made jaw tighten. Figure wasn't alone. Behind him, through brush, barely visible, shape of silver SUV parked with lights off. Same model I'd seen drive by too slow a few days back. Then fifth photo loaded. I froze. Man in hood wasn't just scouting, he was planting something. Metal stake, surveyor's marker, right into my soil. Stamped on side, clear as sunrise, Serenity, Ridge, Phase 4 boundary. They hadn't come to trespass, they'd come to erase me. Break line, pretend it was always theirs. Rewrite history with metal pin and forged map. I leaned back in chair, slow, breathing deep, letting anger settle, not burn. Let them dig hole deep. Let them think they were smart. Tomorrow morning, those stakes would still be there. And I had cameras. Proof. UV footprints. Bad habit of finishing fights other people start. They wanted quiet takeover. About to get noise. Morning came. Fog hanging low. I walked out expecting confirmation. Not surprises. Confirmation hurts more than shock. Reached first metal pin. Looked at it way man looks at rattlesnake he already killed. Not surprised. Just offended it ever got close. Words stamped on steel, exactly what I'd seen on camera. Serenity Ridge, Phase 4 boundary. I pulled stake from ground. Not gentle. Made clean metallic scream as it came loose. Sound of something that did not belong. Anger came slow. Not hot. More like bruise spreading under skin. Takes special kind of arrogance for someone to walk onto man's land in dead of night. Leave behind boundary marker like planting flag on moon. But stakes weren't what made morning heavy. It was number of them. 8, 10. Full crescent cutting through pasture. Each placed with confidence only liar or fool could possess. They weren't guessing, weren't testing, they were mapping. Kept pulling stakes, photographing each, letting anger settle in bones like winter cold, then reached last marker. That's where everything changed. This stake had something clipped to top, laminated sheet curled from night air. Camera hadn't picked that up. I unhooked it carefully, unfolded on knee, felt whole world tilt sideways. Map, not sketch, not rough draft, finalized layout, color-coded, stamped. Approved by someone who had no right approving anything. Across top, Serenity Ridge, Phase 4 development plan. I traced outline with finger, cul-de-sacs, walking paths, recreational green zones, community lodge, and land. They were building it all on. My land. Every inch of Phase 4 printed right on top of my pastures, as if fences didn't exist, as if my deed meant nothing, as if I'd already disappeared and they were just waiting for ground to cool. I whispered one word. Unbelievable. But it wasn't really. Not after everything so far. What was unbelievable was stamp in bottom corner. County review completed, pending final approval. That meant they'd already filed this, already submitted maps, already promised something to someone with money. And they'd done it without owning square foot of what they were selling. Man can fight trespassers, can fight liars, can fight bad neighbor. But fighting deal already made on paper? Different kind of war. That's when it hit me. Not shock, clarity. This wasn't harassment, wasn't pressure, wasn't negotiation. This was cover-up. They'd oversold Serenity Ridge, sold Phase 4 before securing land. Now scrambling like coyotes in henhouse trying to make paperwork match lie. Every violation notice, every drone, every late-night visit, all led back to one truth. If I stayed, they'd lose everything. And people who stand to lose everything don't act rational. They act desperate. I folded map, slid into jacket like evidence in murder case. Stood there staring across morning pasture. Fog lifting now, revealing landway it always had been. Quiet, steady, mine. But on someone else's blueprint, wasn't mine at all. That's when different kind of anger settled in. Not wild anger, not hot, sharper, colder, kind that makes man think in straight lines instead of raised voices. I whispered to Empty Field. You drew wrong map. Now you're going to answer for every inch of it. Didn't know exactly how yet, but knew this. I had proof. I had clarity. And I had something they hadn't counted on. Man who doesn't scare and land that refuses to forget. Turned back toward house with map underarm. Phase 4 wasn't just development plan. It was confession. And I planned to use every inch of it. By dusk, I had Phase 4 map laid out on kitchen table. Weighted at corners with 4 river stones my mother collected when I was boy. Map looked harmless. Quiet even. But there was more violence in those printed lines than fistfight behind bar. They'd promised my land to someone. Someone with money. Someone expecting results. Which meant tonight, they'd likely try again. So, I made preparations. Walked perimeter one more time. Slow. Deliberate. Like preacher checking pews before storm sermon. Tracer powder I'd sprinkled earlier still looked like ordinary dust, but under UV would scream like fire alarm. Tonight, I meant to make it scream. Checked each trail camera, tightened each mount, cleared branches that might trigger false motion. Then added something new. Small UV flood strip wired under cattle gate, harmless to eye, invisible unless triggered. If anyone crawled through narrow gap, they'd look like walking constellation. By 11 p.m., ranch was quiet. Too quiet. Kind that makes ears strain and heartbeats sound loud. Sat on porch with lights off, letting eyes adjust. My father used to say, man can hear trouble 10 minutes before it arrives, if he's willing to listen. Around 12:40 a.m., first sign came. Not sound. Light. Faint blink through trees. White. Sharp. Mechanical. Drone. Second one this week. Floated low over pastures. Scanning. Red camera light pulsing like heartbeat. Whoever piloted it was cautious. Too cautious. Like they knew they'd pushed luck last time. Drones don't scare me. People do. At 1:17 a.m., trail camera receiver chirped softly. High. Fast beep. Then again. 2 triggers. Close together. Movement. I eased back inside. Sat at kitchen table. Opened camera feed. There on screen in grainy black and white, 2 figures slipping under fence at far western post, both wearing hoodies, gloves, backpacks, professional, prepared, idiots. One bent down, brushing ground where tracer powder lay. When he stood up, I saw it, faint glow of dust along knees of jeans, marked. Second figure moved quick toward barn, checking locks, tugging feed room door like expected it to pop open. Didn't realize new latch was reinforced, steel welded into place. He tugged harder. Still nothing. Muttered something. Camera didn't catch words. But tone was sharp. Impatient. Frustrated men make mistakes. He moved toward irrigation shed. Crouched beside control box. Tried prying it open. 2 seconds later, flash. Motion floodlight I'd wired earlier, exploded white across yard, bright enough to wake cattle, bright enough to freeze men in place. One by shed scrambled back, blinded, tripping over hose reel. Other bolted toward fence, but UV strip under cattle gate burst into violet flame moment he crawled through. For moment, world went dark except one thing, footprints glowing like blue fire. Perfect, clear, inarguable. Not just shoes, hands, knees. Streak across jacket where he'd brushed against powder. He was glowing like guilty angel run through paint factory. Camera captured every frame. Drone above wobbled at sudden light, then zipped off. Whoever operated it must have panicked. 2 trespassers fled into brush. But their glowing footprints trailed after them like breadcrumbs for half-mile. I didn't chase, didn't need to. I had what I came for. When ranch grew quiet again, I walked out to floodlight's reach, bent down, brushed patch of glowing dust off dirt. Prints were perfect, museum perfect, courtroom perfect. I'd used tracer powder hunting coyotes. Never thought I'd use it hunting people. But world changes. You change with it or you lose everything. Inside, I saved each photo across 3 different drives. One for me, one for lawyer. One for insurance in case something accidentally went missing. Then, shut off lights. Let house settle. Leaned against window. Trespassers would be waking up right now. Scrubbing clothes. Wondering why jeans glow like rolled in radioactive chalk. They might get dust out of denim. But they wouldn't get out of videos. Tomorrow I stop watching Fence. Tomorrow I start building Warzone. Morning came slow. Gray. Heavy. Kind that makes man think twice before getting out of chair. But didn't have luxury of thinking twice anymore. Kitchen table looked like detective's board. Only difference? Detective and suspect, both me. Laid out in neat rows. Phase 4, development map. Photos of metal stakes. Video of 2 trespassers glowing like neon ghosts. Drone still frame. HOA violation letters stacked like gravestones. That first envelope. Step aside. Each piece told different story. Together screamed one truth. Serenity Ridge didn't just overreach. They gambled big. And gambled with someone else's money. Someone with power. Someone who wouldn't appreciate being lied to. I ran hand over map again, feeling smooth laminate. Whoever submitted this to county had confidence. Kind that comes from knowing you already cashed check. That's when it clicked hard, like hammer finding nail. Didn't need to convince Serenity Ridge to stop, needed to convince their buyer. People funding Phase 4 weren't fools. They were wealthy, important, and most importantly, risk-averse. They weren't going to like finding out they'd bought land that wasn't for sale. Weren't going to like knowing they'd been lied to. Sure as sin weren't going to like being dragged into legal trouble, I pulled manila envelope from drawer. Thick, clean, never used, felt heavier than paper should. Inside it, placed printed photos of glowing footprints. USB drive with all camera footage. Copy of Phase 4 map. Still of trespasser planting stake. Original step aside note. Typed letter I wrote, slow, deliberate, without flourish. Letter wasn't long. Didn't need to be. You paid for land they never owned. They forged boundary they knew was false. They're breaking law trying to hide it. What you do next determines whether you are victim or accomplice. Signed simply, the actual owner of the Coltrane parcel. No name, no address, no phone. If Horizon Vista was as smart as reputation claimed, they'd find me anyway. When package was ready, I slid into second envelope labeled Horizon Vista Land Development, Legal Compliance Division. That should get their attention. Folks with money fear 2 things, lawsuits and looking stupid. This envelope promised both. By noon, driving toward Fredericksburg. Nearest town large enough to have corporate drop boxes. Small enough nobody knew my truck by name, parked 3 blocks from Horizon Vista satellite office. Not headquarters, just place where they signed permits, met architects, smoothed county. Perfect. Kind of place where man could walk in unnoticed, but leave bomb behind. Didn't go inside. Didn't need to. Left envelope on front desk with simple instruction to receptionist. Legal department. Direct delivery. Someone's been lying to y'all. She blinked at envelope. Heavy. Thick. Impossible to ignore. Then nodded slow. Like could feel something wrong inside it. I tipped hat. Walked back into sunlight. Didn't hurry. Didn't look back. Cowboy doesn't need to watch fuse once it's lit. Halfway to truck, I paused. Leaned against lamppost. Watched people flow around me. Men in shirts too clean. Women on phones making plans they'd forget by evening. World full of people who thought land was just dirt with price tag. Had no idea what land meant to man raised on it. No idea what it meant to fight for it. Climbed into truck. Fired up engine. Let old diesel rumble under me. On drive home, sky started to clear. Clouds pulling apart. Sun warming windshield. Like land itself was waiting. Waiting for next move. When I reached gate, stepped out. Looked across pasture where stakes had been planted. Whispered, "You wanted Warzone? Fine, but should have picked man who scares easy." Inside house, phone buzzed. Unknown number. Austin area code. Didn't answer. Not yet. Let package do its work first. Tonight, Serenity Ridge would have no idea why their buyer wasn't returning calls. Tomorrow, they'd feel first crack in ground beneath feet. Week after sending package to Horizon Vista, everything exploded. Got call from county. Emergency hearings scheduled. Coltrane v. Serenity Ridge HOA. Boundary dispute and trespass claims. Courtrooms have smell. Old paper. Dust. Cold air pushed around by vents older than Judge himself. Smell that makes most men nervous. Not me. I'd spent whole life fighting for things people said weren't worth trouble. Cattle during droughts, fences during storms, and now land against people who thought boundary could be erased with paperwork. By time case was called, I'd already seen Victoria Hayes pacing hallway outside, whispering into phone. Lipstick smudged like she'd been chewing it. Her lawyer, Stanley Polk, was sweating before we even stepped inside. Polk was kind of attorney who looked confident only when nobody watching. Judge wiry man named Halford took his seat. Asked everyone to settle. Mr. Coltrane, he said, peering over glasses. You're representing yourself? Yes, sir. Polk smirked at that. Kind of smirk men make right before realizing ground beneath them about to give way. Judge nodded. Very well. Serenity Ridge alleges you've refused access to land designated under their jurisdiction. You're claiming trespass and fraudulent boundary claims in return. That's correct. Victoria lifted chin like rooster, preparing to crow. Judge motioned for Polk to begin. Polk strutted forward, thumbing through bright blue binder. Your Honor, this homeowner, Mr. Coltrane, has repeatedly obstructed our association's right to conduct community development activities. Community development? Judge interrupted, eyebrows raised. On his land? Polk cleared throat. With respect, Your Honor, boundaries are disputed. Murmur rolled across courtroom. Even bailiff blinked. My turn. I stood. Held up laminated map from Phase 4, one I'd pulled from Stake and Pasture. This, I said, is map Serenity Ridge submitted to county. Judge motioned for clerk to take it. She delivered carefully, as if snake, that might start hissing. His eyebrows climbed higher. This shows development project covering your entire western pasture, he said. Yes, Your Honor. My land. Polk laughed lightly. Too lightly. Your Honor, anyone can print map. Proves nothing without context. I nodded slowly. Agreed, which is why I brought rest. Handed clerk USB drive. When first video played on courtroom screens, room leaned forward. Two hooded men slipping through fence under moonlight. One kneeling, one planting boundary stake. Movements deliberate, intentions obvious. But next video, that one cracked room open. Floodlight burst across screen, freezing men in place. Then UV strip lit up, repainting darkened shades of ghostly violet. And there they were, footprints glowing like blue fire. Hands, knees. Streak across jacket. UV powder, unmistakable. No one breathed for several seconds. Judge spoke first. Polk, your clients entered his land at night, Polk stammered. We dispute authenticity, I cut in gently. No need to dispute anything. Pulled something from coat pocket. Small black flashlight. UV flashlight. Your Honor, I said calmly. May I demonstrate something? Judge hesitated, then nodded. Go ahead. I walked toward defense table. Every eye followed. Mrs. Hayes, I said, would you stand up? Victoria looked ready to faint, but obeyed. I lifted flashlight. Slow, deliberate. Then clicked it on. Every light in courtroom stayed bright. But Judge squinted suddenly. Sir, I said to bailiff, could you dim lights? Judge hesitated. Then, dim them. Overhead fluorescence faded. Low gasp rippled through gallery. Because, under dim light, bottom of Victoria's left pant leg glowed faintly. Soft, bluish haze. Exact kind of streak person gets from brushing against tracer powder. Polk sputtered. Your Honor, this must... I clicked light off. Your Honor, I don't know if Mrs. Hayes personally walked onto my land that night, but I do know this. Pointed to screen, still paused on glowing footprints. Someone under her authority did, and they left tracks. Room so quiet you could hear bailiff swallow. Judge leaned back. Steepled fingers looked at Serenity Ridge like examining diseased animal. This is no longer boundary dispute, he said. This is trespass, falsified filings, and unauthorized development planning on land HOA does not and has never owned. Polk wilted. Victoria sagged onto chair like air punched out of her. Then, Polk stood abruptly. Your Honor, before ruling, we have new evidence that fundamentally changes this case. He pulled thick folder from briefcase. This morning, we obtained engineering survey showing current fence alignment differs significantly from 1,960 property deed description. Coltrane property line has drifted approximately 15 feet eastward due to natural land erosion over 60 years. He displayed large map on screen, original deed boundary in red, current fence in blue. They didn't align perfectly. Technically, current Phase 4 markers fall within corrected boundary zone. Mr. Coltrane's fence, not our survey, is encroaching. My stomach dropped. Murmurs in courtroom. I looked at Judge. He was frowning. Polk pressed on. Furthermore, we have documentation showing Mr. Coltrane himself filed complaints about land erosion with county in 2003. He acknowledged boundary uncertainty then. Can't deny it now. He pulled up old county records, my signature at bottom. 22 years ago, I'd reported erosion near creek, asked county to clarify boundaries. They never responded. Now HOA was using it against me. Mr. Coltrane claims we're trespassing, Polk said, but according to corrected survey, we're simply exercising rights within legally ambiguous zone that he created by failing to maintain proper boundaries. Several people nodding. Victoria stood, and for first time, I saw her properly. She dressed for war. The crimson-red blazer. Not maroon, not burgundy aggressive, bold crimson. Perfectly tailored, expensive fabric, draped over shoulders like armor, like she was wearing authority itself. Underneath, black silk blouse with deep V-neck, cut in way that seemed calculated to distract, to keep people off balance while she wielded power. Pencil skirt, matched blazer, exactly. Same crimson red, fitted with precision, subtle slit that moved when she walked to front, and those heels, glossy red, clicking against courtroom floor like countdown timers, adding height, matching blazer and her glossy red lips exactly. Her auburn hair styled in perfect waves, shoulder length, catching lights whenever she turned. She looked like power dressed for final stand, like control wearing designer labels, like someone who'd spent years perfecting image of untouchable authority and wasn't surrendering. Your Honor, she said, voice steady, Mr. Coltrane has painted us as criminals. But truth is simpler. We conducted legally required survey, discovered boundary discrepancy HE failed to address for 2 decades. When we attempted good faith discussion, he responded with harassment, threats, and now false accusations. She gestured to UV evidence. That powder could have been planted by anyone, including Mr. Coltrane himself, to fabricate evidence. Crowd murmuring louder. She was good. Twisting truth just enough. We're not land grabbers, Victoria said. We're community stewards trying to resolve boundary issue HE created, and instead of cooperation, we get ambush. Her voice rose with righteous indignation. I have dedicated 4 years to Serenity Ridge. Protected property values, maintained standards, and this is how I'm repaid? With accusations of fraud? Several residents looked uncertain, sympathetic even. She'd reframed narrative, made herself victim. I felt ice in stomach. Then, knock on courtroom door. 3 sharp raps. Clerk hurried to open. In walked man in charcoal suit with silver portfolio underarm. Judge frowned. And you are? Man bowed head politely. Ethan Calder, representing Horizon Vista Land Development. Blood drained from Victoria's face so fast it was almost art, that crimson blazer suddenly looking less like armor, more like target. Calder approached bench. "Your Honor," he said. "My client received anonymous evidence this week indicating Serenity Ridge has been selling Phase 4 development rights on land it does not control." He opened portfolio, pulled out documents. "We paid $2.3 million for Phase 4 based on representations that land acquisition was complete. We now know those representations were false. Placed contracts on judge's desk. Serenity Ridge sold us Wade Coltrane's property without owning it, without his knowledge, without legal right." Judge's eyes widened. "We are here," Calder continued, "to confirm our intention to withdraw entirely from all contracts related to Serenity Ridge. Additionally, we reserve right to pursue financial damages for fraud." Long silence followed. Then Judge spoke softly. "Mr. Calder, thank you. You may be seated." He turned to Victoria, that crimson blazer now crumpling around her like defeated flag. "Mrs. Hayes, did you represent to Horizon Vista that you had secured Coltrane property for Phase 4? She opened mouth. No words came. Polk stood. "Your Honor, my client, yes or no?" Victoria's voice dropped to whisper. "We believed boundary issues would be resolved." "That's not what I asked. Did you sell land you didn't own?" Her lips, those glossy red lips, trembled. "We had reasonable expectation." "Answer the question." Silence. Judge removed glasses, rubbed bridge of nose, gavel came down like hammer on steel. "Effective immediately, Serenity Ridge HOA is barred from entering or claiming oversight on Coltrane parcel. All filings related to Phase 4 are nullified. Any further interference will be met with civil and criminal consequences." Polk collapsed into chair. Victoria stared straight ahead. Hollow. That crimson blazer armor she'd worn into battle, now costume for role she'd just been stripped of. I nodded once. "Your Honor, I appreciate your time. When Judge dismissed us, courtroom emptied like someone opened chute under floor." Calder caught up to me near hall. "You were smart to send us that package," he said. I tipped hat, just returning favor. "They sent me one first." He smiled tight, respectful, businesslike. "We won't be troubling you again." "I know," I said. "You're not ones I was worried about." Weak after hearing passed like long exhale. For first time in months, I woke without feeling someone waiting in dark, counting breaths, measuring fences, waiting for me to slip. Kind of quiet that used to feel ordinary now felt like gift I hadn't realized I'd lost. Monday, got certified letter from county. Not summons, not complaint, simple declaration. Boundary affirmed, HOA jurisdiction void. No signatures from Serenity Ridge, just county seal and straightforward certainty of law. Pinned it to fridge like child's good report card. Wednesday, sheriff's deputy, older man, polite. Hat in hand came by to ask few questions about tracer powder footage. Not accusatory, matter of fact, county had opened investigation into Serenity Ridge, financial fraud, false filings, criminal trespass. He didn't name names, but I could guess. Victoria Hayes hadn't shown face since hearing. Not at HOA meetings, not around town, not even at Serenity Ridge Community Garden she used to brag about. Rumor said she'd lawyered up. Same afternoon, Horizon Vista withdrew contracts. Rumor also said 2 board members had flipped, turned evidence to save themselves. HOAs fall apart fast when money dries up, like ants scattering when food runs out. Friday, official county truck pulled into Serenity Ridge's front entrance. 2 workers climbed ladders. Unscrewed, big sign. Welcome to Serenity Ridge, Phase 1 to 4. They left name, they took Phase 4. Small thing, but symbols matter. Saturday morning, noticed something strange. People weren't avoiding my ranch anymore. Neighbors I barely talked to started slowing trucks as they passed, giving respectful nod, almost apologetic. Like weren't sure whether to congratulate me or keep distance from man who'd just taken entire HOA to court and won. Didn't mind either way. I'd done what needed doing. Sunday near sundown. I saddled horse, rode full length of western fence, not checking, not looking for trouble, just remembering. Cedar posts cast long shadows, same as when my father drove each one into ground one hot summer decades ago. Every post hand cut. He never used pre-made ones. Said man ought to know feel of things that guard his land. Don't know if he ever expected me to fight for it someday. But he'd taught me how without ever saying words. At northern end of pasture, I stopped where last Phase 4 stake had stood. One with map clipped to it, one that started everything. Now nothing but small circle of softer dirt where I'd pulled it free. Funny thing about land, it remembers. You can tear up fences, plant false markers, draw new lines on map, threaten, lie, trespass. But dirt remembers hands that belong to it, and it resists ones that don't. Sun dipped lower, turning sky color of old embers. I watched light travel across fields. Familiar, warm, steady. Coyote barked somewhere far off. Cattle shifted in distance. Wind brushed dry grass. World kept moving. Same as always, but I had changed. I'd always believed man could avoid trouble if he kept to himself. Turns out, trouble doesn't care where you stand. Sometimes walks right up to fence and asks you to step aside, and sometimes if you don't answer right, it climbs over. I turned horse back toward home, letting him take his time. Night came in slow behind us, gentle, not heavy. Halfway back, porch light automatically clicked on. Motion timer doing its job. Same system that caught 2 trespassers not long ago now greeted me like welcome home lantern. When I stepped off horse and walked toward gate, I saw a new sign I'd put up myself. Private property, boundary enforced. Not threatening, not loud, not angry, just truthful. And that's all I ever wanted in first place. As I leaned on gate, watching last minutes of daylight disappear, thought settled in. Quiet. Final. Unshakable. They tried to take my land because they believed land is just something you buy, but man like me, we don't own land, we belong to it. I pushed gate open, stepped inside, boots crunching on gravel. House warm with lamplight waiting for me. Behind me, fence line stretched out clean and honest under stars. Line drawn once, held always. War was over, and land was mine.